Well, I returned from South Africa several weeks ago, in fact. So I guess it's been more than enough time to culminate my thoughts on my experience. And I just have to say, don't take malaria medication for South Africa. You'll thank me. What I mean is, it was a rather long trip to South Africa. In fact, it is Delta Airlines' longest continuous flight. That involves you being cooped up in a plane for about 16 hours, depending on wind currents. It was cramped, noisy, and the stewardesses forgot to show us how to adjust our seats to make them slightly less uncomfortable. And what turns that 16 hours of annoyance into 16 hours of hell is when you are feeling the expected side effects of malaria medication that make you feel like you have the flu. Luckily, after about 24 hours of nauseated travel between 3 different flights, most of the medication was worked out of my system, which made my first meal in South Africa, my first true meal in over 24 hours, all the sweeter, though it might have been the actual real sugar that was in it. Oh well. Nice way to be welcomed into a country. Against our parents' and family's popular perception, South Africa is not a third world country. Port Elizabeth, our base location for our class, is a port city if the title was not a dead giveaway. That means mostly fair weather with a constant breeze, and annoyingly constant breeze. But the food was delicious, the beach beautiful, and the KFCs everywhere. We enjoyed all the luxuries of home minus Wi-Fi, which was rather horrible. But with cheaper prices all around, like for instance being able to get a 3D movie ticket and popcorn and drink for about $10. However, the city, like the country as a whole, is still feeling the aftereffects of their apartheid segregation policy. It really did not hit me how recent this system was still in effect until after an interview with Sim for my documentary. After the interview, I mentally did the math to realize that Sim was only a few years older than me, was a kid when this horrible system was still in effect. Yeah, a rather gloomy prospect to say the least. As for my documentary, it did not go as great as I hoped, but it was not as bad as I feared. I ended up with 6 good interviews, but found Port Elizabeth was not the best location to observe South Africa's phantom culture. It was generally agreed by the locals that it was more conservative in culture than, say, Cape Town or Johannesburg. So it came as a surprise that I was able to find Port Elizabeth's cosplayers. Seriously, NMMU's students and staff that so gratefully helped us were shocked I actually found any cosplayers within their city, period. But that said, from an atmospheric level, I was still able to feel media's effects in Port Elizabeth and how big Game of Thrones was there, more specifically the pirating, which is of very high quality. So while my documentary was no field of daisies, it was still able to capture some of South Africa's media fandom culture. On top of that, the sheer self-learning experience made the trip worth it. Learning about other cultures through text and videos is different from living in one, even if it was just a brief stay like ours.
I mean, the milk tasted good, I'm not gonna lie, but just what happened afterwards was a little different.
Yeah. And what happened afterwards?
It exploded. The cow exploded with feces.
While I enjoyed where we stayed overall, I did have 2 complaints. One, the hotel's Wi-Fi was rather bad, and a direct cause for so many caffeine coffee runs to use their Wi-Fi, which was slightly better. And 2, these things they called a shower.